practice. Unlike some regular forms of exercise, yoga has this beautiful aspect of it that it's a healing, nurturing practice. It's not just to keep us physically fit; it's to keep us emotionally, mentally, and spiritually fit as well. All forms of exercise, of course, help with your mental health. But I think yoga is very uniquely situated. So always remember that your practice does not have to look any specific way. It can be, it's weird to have this beam of light in my face. It can be very nurturing for you when you are unwell, when there's things that are going off offline for you, whatever it might be, whether it's you didn't sleep well or you don't feel good or your mind is stressed. So remember, the restorative practices are always available to you. We're not going to do a full restorative practice, but we're going to have some restoratives embedded in the practice today. So let's go ahead and sit up straight and tall and take a moment to drop your awareness down in. So let's start with just simply some gratitude for the gift of having an hour in your day. We're all can kind of just push through very busy schedules sometimes and forget to pay attention and drop in. So let's use this opportunity to feel what we're feeling today. Let's ground into the pelvis as best as you can. Notice if you need a little more support underneath you. Are you comfortable? Do you have a bit of ease in the way you're sitting? I'm just going to simply start with some Ujjayi breath. So a nice, slow inhale and a beautiful, slow exhale. And these are coming through the nose with a slight banking of the sides of your river, your breath river. So you feel just a slight restriction at the back of your throat, or kind of in the back of your nose, the back of your throat. Feel that there's just a little bit of restriction to help you bank the rivers of your breath, slow things down. Now remember, we're not trying to top the tank off, so try not to pull the upper shoulders and neck muscles into the equation too much, especially if you know this is an area where you have a lot of tension patterns. Try to keep your shoulders and neck relaxed, your jaw free, the base of your skull free. So when we fill up our lungs, we don't have to pull to the very top. Think more expansively through your rib cage and all your lung fields instead of that top piece of the breath. As you slow the breath down, see if it's beginning to slow the mind down just a bit. Notice the body is responding as well. Are you starting to have a little ease anywhere? Do you feel a sense of relaxation through your diaphragm? Maybe your shoulders, maybe your palms. Wherever you feel like you are resting, notice that. And then start to bring that type of rest, the easeful state of the body, and pour that intention into places where you know you struggle with ease. Maybe that's your neck and shoulders. Maybe that's the way you hold your back, your belly, whatever has a hard time resting and relaxing. Ripple your exhales there and let things go. Now, as you're ready, place your palms together at your heart. Offer an intention, so set your mind, your heart toward some sort of healing for yourself. What's something for you, not an intention for others, an intention for yourself. All right, and then let's go ahead and relax the hands. And let's find our way onto our back. All right, so as you come to lie down, as always, let's feel ourselves stretch out and lengthen a bit. See what it feels like to have some open space. Take my socks off. Okay, so feel into the way your body feels at rest lying down, which is different than how your body feels at rest sitting up. So just finding into that spaciousness. Stretch your arms overhead, maybe the right leg, maybe the left side. Just see what it feels like to open and awaken. And then release your hands down at your sides and just pause here for a moment. Let's bend our knees and come into a very neutral place in your spine and just enjoy the feeling. Try to stay very present. Oftentimes we can lie down on the ground and we don't necessarily notice all the ways in which things have shifted. So pay attention to how your body feels right now as you're resting. Melt that sense of ease now into your whole body if you can. All right, now as we start to move, let's see if we can keep that nice sense of ease and presence of breath alive and well. Let it be in the forefront of your awareness as we practice. So right knee comes into the chest, left leg long on the floor. Let the head be very heavy on the ground. Feel a good squeeze of the knee. Feel free to move your feet around. So rolling through your ankles and feet, opening up, turning on all the awareness in the soles of the feet. It's like a separate pair of eyes that we can have at the very bottom of us. And then change sides. Left knee comes in, right leg comes long on the floor, and feel some wiggles here. So roll around in your ankles, wiggle through your feet. Feel a good compression, knee into chest, lengthen through the spine. Great, and then two knees come in. Let's open the knees away from each other and then bring them back in toward each other. Just feeling that sense of movement and awareness in your hip joints. What's available here? All right, and then keep your knees together and let's circle and feel the impact of this movement on your sacrum. So just check in with the back side of your body. Go the other direction. All right, and then go ahead and stretch your body out like a star. So spreading your arms and legs wide, reaching into your fingers and toes. Maybe roll your wrists, maybe open and close your fists, wiggle your toes. Find another breath while you're here and give a good squeeze to all parts of your body. And then as you're ready to exhale, bring your knees into your chest, pick up your head, and a good squeeze. You can try the same thing. So take a deep breath while you're here. Full exhale, squeeze your exhale out, and then squeeze any muscles you can. And then relax your head back down onto the ground. Right foot is going to come up into a strap. If you don't have a strap, you can interlace your hands behind your hamstring. All right, so Supta Padangusthasana. Left foot can be on the floor or left leg can be on the ground. Your choice of how you want to be in space.
All right, so let's point and flex the toe a couple of times. Just wake up the bottom half of your leg a little bit, your calf, your shin, top of your foot, sole of your foot. And then let that be at ease and move your right hip away from your shoulder. Keep resting the base of your skull and the back of your head. See what it can feel like to have ease in the upper body while you gently stretch the lower body. Supta Padangusthasana to me is such a great posture because it does a lot and you get to rest. So you get to stretch the whole backside of your body, really, but there's ease involved, a little more simply than some other postures. Okay, let's take the strap into the right hand and open the right leg out to the right. If your left leg is on the floor, you can ground it there. If your knee is bent and your left foot is on the floor, you can let your left knee fall out to the left so that there's a sense of balance across your pelvis. You want to have evenness through the SI joints. All right, so long spine. Stretch through your foot in the air. Try not to let the stretch be just at the attachment at your inner knee. You can bend that right knee a little bit if need be, or you can back off the stretch. All right, and then lift that leg straight back up in the air. Feel the hamstring open up one more time. Thigh bone moves away from shoulder. And then we're going to cross over. So take the strap in the left hand. We're crossing right leg over to the left. You can put the heel of your right hand in the hip crease and press away if that feels nice. Notice if your toes want to turn a little bit up toward the sky, turn them toward the wall behind your head so that there's a little internal rotation of the thigh. Stretch through the leg all the way to the foot and move your hip away from your shoulder. How's the weight of your head now and the breath and the ease in the upper body? All right, and then let's lift that leg straight up in the air, hip away from shoulders, and then join the left foot with the right. Notice how different the two legs feel just with that simple stretching that we've already done on one side. Take the strap off of your right foot, put it right down onto the ground. So your whole right leg can be on the floor or your right foot, your choice. Whatever feels good for your sacrum and your pelvis and your low back. All right, so once you're here, stretch up through your foot, root down through your hip. Take the thigh bone away from your shoulder and feel free to start moving your left foot. You can point your toes up toward the sky. You can flex your toes toward your face or any kind of movement that feels nice to, when we pull our toes toward our face and lift our heel, we have obviously a good back line stretch. So let's just enjoy. How's the breath? How's the weight of the head? All right, let's open up the left leg out to the left. Your right leg can be straight on the floor or your right leg can be bent. If your right leg is bent, you can open up the right knee. Be mindful of feeling your body, your torso on the floor. So notice if you're listing to the left, see if you can stabilize with your pelvis so that you're grounded into a neutrality through the spine. Let's go ahead and lift that leg straight up. Take the strap into the right hand. We're going to cross left leg over to right. Once again, the toes may want to turn up toward the sky. Turn them toward the wall over your head, behind you. All right, so let's reach. Maybe your left hand wants to have the heel of the hand in the hip crease. That might feel nice. Deep breaths. Soft skull. Lift that leg straight up in the air one more time. 2 feet come into the strap here. Lengthen your femur bones away from your shoulders. Stretch up through your feet. Pull your toes toward your face. Lift your heels up. Long, long spine. All right, and then let's relax. Take the strap off and come into happy baby pose. Grab your feet. Maybe rock from side to side. Maybe this is too deep of a posture and you just hold behind your knees. So just make a pathway that works for you. Check in with the breath one more time. And then a deep inhale, stretch your limbs wide, star. Exhale, drawing your knees in, head comes up. All right, let's come over onto our side and come up onto our hands and our knees. All right, so as you start to move through some cat-cows, let's remember that our spine moves in so many different directions. So you can start with just some flexion and extension, but then feel free to move the body around in any way that serves. So you can wag your tail, you can roll through your shoulders, breathing deeply. We're going to stretch back towards child's pose. Take the hands out in front of you far. Inch those fingertips so you get a good length in the sides of your body. And then let's create one side versus the other. So walk the hands over to the left or right, your choice. We're going to go both ways. Drop your hips down toward the heels, melt into the base of the skull. So remember, we're trying to have ease here. Can you remember that Ujjayi breath? Can you feel into the nice, slow, steady breathing? And then walk your hands over to the other side. Inching your hands to the other side. As you do this, drop some weight into your sit bones. Feel the full side body stretch. Open things up. All right, come back to center. Find your way up onto all fours. Move the spine about a little bit more here or there. And then we're going to walk our hands forward. Keep your hips up. We're going to drop our torso. Maybe our forehead comes to the floor. Maybe it doesn't. Our torso is going to drop down, but we lift under the armpits. So there's some counter pose to the pose. Open up the thoracic spine. Let your forehead rest if you can. And then walk your feet forward and relax back towards child's pose. Soften your spine. You can even take your arms down next to your body if you want. We're going to come up onto the shins. Take a deep breath. Open the heart. Lean back a little bit if it feels nice. And then exhale and float back down again. Twice more. Press through your shins, rise up, find your breath as you exhale, coming down. Rise up on your in-breath. Everybody's breath is a little different, so take your time and come back down on your out-breath. Let's come up onto all fours, move the spine about, and then we're going to find our way to dog pose. So as you lift your hips up, see what it feels like. Maybe you want to bear a little weight into your left or then into your right, and just feel into that sense of awakening a more fullness in the body. Our legs are fully extended now. Maybe your knees are bent a little bit. That's okay. Round through the 4 points of contact you have with the floor. So are both hands even weighted? Are both feet even weighted? Melt the skull. So here we are in an inversion. So let's relax into that. Feel the sense of ease. Let your exhales be long and steady. Keep melting the base of the skull. A sense of deep surrender. Long exhales. And then as you're ready, walk your feet forward, come into Uttanasana. You can have blocks handy if you want. Relax your skull, relax the base of your skull, bobble around your head. Take your hands and interlace them behind your head at the base of the skull. And just ever so slightly tuck your chin toward your chest. Back line stretch, and then inhale, halfway lift now. So the spine gets longer. Take your thigh bones back, spread out the bones of your feet. Root
to rise. So feel the yielding into the earth and the lift. See if you can get the center of the shaft of your femur bones to rise upward, and then heads of the thigh bones back. All right, let's drop our seat and lift our chest and come up to stand. Now we've been down for a while, so if you need a little time to kind of adjust to being standing, that's great. Just take your time. If you need to squeeze to the midline to help your blood pressure rise, you can do that. Okay, and then take a deep breath. Rise up, lean back, and see how that feels. And then exhale and release your hands behind you. Interlace your hands behind your back. Open through your chest. Bend your knees and float forward. Let your arms leave the spine wherever they go. The knees stay deeply bent. Relax the base of the skull. Release your arms now. Inhale, halfway lift again. Spine gets longer. Step back to dog pose. Find your way. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Every time you come back to this inversion, take a moment to let your exhales feel into that restful nature of the brain. All right, let's come forward into a plank. Steady yourself here. Integrate into the core. Inner thighs lifting to the sky. You can always put your knees down if you're having a restful day and you need to conserve your energy. Put your knees down. Enjoy the way the stability feels. Kind of turn on a lot of lights in the center of your body. All right, then let's find the ground. Roll the shoulders a few times so we start to loosen some of that creeping of our shoulders up toward our ears. Drop the shoulder blades down. Inhale and lift up to Cobra Pose. Keep the elbows bent. Shoulders are away from the ears. And then melt and release to the floor. Stretch your legs. Engage your legs. Engage your core. Rise up. Elbows stay bent. Shoulders away from the ears. Come down when you're ready. This last one, let's take our hands wide, maybe off the mat. Stretch through your legs. Open through your chest in a different way. Feel the extension in your spine. And then melt and fold. Okay. Adding a little twist here. Left knee comes up toward the armpit. Find your breath. Maybe you want to come onto your forearms for a moment and just feel into the flexion in your hip. And then we're going to cross, because our left knee is up high, we're going to cross our right arm to the left side of our mat and then open up into a twist. Let your hands become like the letter Y on the floor, palms facing up toward the sky, backs and hands on ground. Let the knee leave the ground to the most comfortable place for your spine. Take a deep breath into a big open chest. Melt the base of the skull again. Keep finding that sense of ease as much as you can. Scan for it in every posture. Feel how the exhale supports this. All right, let's come back. Rolling back around. Bring your other knee up. So now our right knee is up toward our armpit. Come onto your forearms for a moment. Just feel into the posture. We're going to take our left arm and cross it over to the right side of the mat and open up into a big old Y. Arms wide, palms up. Let the knee leave the floor. So we want to not have we don't want to have a huge twist. We don't want to over twist our spine. Really, we're looking for openness in our chest here. Let the head weight itself on the ground. Melt through all the little crevices of your skull. And then come back around. Come up onto all fours. Swish the spine about. And then settle back towards child's pose for a moment. Breathe here. Let the breath travel down the back body. All right, let's go ahead and take our right foot forward. And our left foot back. If you like to use blocks, you can grab some blocks. Keep the knee on the ground for right now. Open up through your sternum, finding your breath. We're going to straighten the front leg a little bit. Take your blocks with you. Okay, take that leg straight. So we're lifting up through the spine. Flex your toes. And then back into a lunge. Again, open up the hip flexors of that back leg. Let's rise up, right hand on right knee. We're going to reach the left arm, maybe a little bit over to the side, maybe just up, and find a gentle twist. Forearm comes on your knee, open across your collarbones. Still hugging to the midline with your inner thighs. Fill up your breath here. Try not to lift it up into your neck and shoulders, but feel the ribs expand. And exhale. And release your hands back down onto the ground. Back knee comes up off the floor. Begin to bend and straighten the front knee. Okay, so just enjoy the movement. Enjoy the way your breath feels. Stay in that calm, centered place in the mind. Letting the long exhales, that Ujjayi breath is so beautiful to stay with if you can manage it. When you're ready, rise up. Maybe if you're having a hard day, if you need that extra little bit of energy conserving, keep your arms down. See what it might feel like to have your heart open without having to extend so strongly. If you're having a good day and you have all this energy, then by all means, reach your arms up and find the fullness. So take what you need for right now. Always let your practice serve what your experience is today, what your needs are today. And then release the hands. Let's bring the back foot forward, fold deeply. Halfway lift. Spine is longer again. And then exhale and melt. Relax the base of the skull. Ease it out. Okay, take the right foot back. Left foot stays forward. Bring the knee down onto the ground. Enjoy the openness through the hip flexors. Just feel into that space in your right leg. And then I like to put my blocks on the high height to do this, but you do you, whatever feels good. Straighten your front leg, lift your toes off the floor, drop your hip down, open up through your chest. You can even, if you need more height, bring your two blocks, one on top of the other, right on the inside edge of your leg. So find what's going to give you the pathway of an open breath, a long spine. And then come back into that lunge. Enjoy the hip flexors, opening up. And then if you're ready, you can come up. Now, maybe you don't want to have your arm up overhead. Maybe you'd rather, once again, kind of conserve your energy so you can keep your hands down. So whatever's working for you, hug to the inner thighs to the midline, hug your front heel down into the ground and pull it back. Move your back knee toward that foot. Breathing deeply. And then if you're wanting a little twist, forearm comes onto the knee. Your left hand is on your side to help you stay lifted and long through your spine. Integrate into the midline of your body. Find your breath. All right, and then let's release. Bring your hands back down. Lift your knee up off the ground. Okay, bend and straighten that front leg a few times. Just get into the openness. And then as you're ready, bend that front knee. Now, perhaps you're having a day where you want your arms down. Maybe some other pattern is better for you. Cultivate your practice to serve your needs. Melt into the base of your skull. Relax through your eyes. See if you can get your brain to rest inside your skull. All right, now we're going to come back to dog pose. Hands down, feet back. Spread open your breath. Let it rise and fall in depth. Melt the skull. Here we are in an inversion again, so just enjoy.
Okay, put your knees down onto the ground and then find your way back to child's pose. Like I said, it's nice, gentle practice today. If you want to do something stronger, you can diverge. If this is too strong, then you can back off. There's always ways to manage. We're going to come into pigeon pose. Now, we haven't done any standing poses to kind of open our pelvis up, so this will feel different than when we do this at the end of class. So you might need more support than you sometimes do. The right leg comes forward. Now, of course, reverse pigeon pose is available to you if you need that instead. So let's be very mindful to protect our joints. And that includes our low back. You know, we can usually sense, oh, my knee, my SI joint. But if you're coming upward, which, you know, it's a nice thing to stay up in this pose for a moment, try taking blocks or your hands on the ground forward a little bit so that you have the capacity to lengthen upward without just compressing into the lumbar spine. All right, so open up the breath. Square up the hips, kind of get oriented before you come down. Is your kneecap on the floor? How is your knee feeling? Do you need to curl your toes under or lay your foot flat? What feels nice? And as you start to lower yourself down, grab some support for underneath your head. It could be a block, it could be something else. If you're in reverse pigeon pose, focus on the weight of the back of your head melting into the ground. So let's keep trying to find this ease across the brain. Deep, full inhales, long, steady exhales. That Ujjayi breath we did in the very beginning, keep the thread of that moving through your practice. All right, let's bring our hands back up onto the ground if they, went somewhere else. If you got down onto your forearms or elbows. And then we're going to slowly come out. Now you can transition back to dog pose, or you can just change sides. Okay, so reverse pigeon, same thing, just change your legs. Maybe you can do pigeon pose on one side and reverse pigeon pose on another side. So you just do what your body needs. I have a blanket underneath my front sit bone and my opposite thigh, kind of running across my mat. And that is what enables me to have ease in my knee and in my spine and in my pelvis. So find what works for you. Sorry, stay upright for a moment. Hands out in front of you, either on blocks or on floor. Shoulders away from the ears. Extend the spine and stretch from your crown to your back foot. Sit bones nice and wide. And then let's melt and bring our body back down. So support. How are you supporting? Does your head rest on something? Do you have good height for whatever you want your head to rest upon? Can you let the brain rest upon that support? So melt what you can inside your jaw, your tongue, your eyes, your cheeks, your brain inside your skull, the base of your neck, your shoulders. A lot of times in this pose, we focus on what's happening in the pelvis and we forget how much tension we can carry elsewhere. All right, let's find our way back out of this pose and maybe back to dog pose, maybe not. But find yourself coming into a seated posture. I'm up on the edge of a blanket. You can be on some support too if that feels better to you. And let's sit here and breathe again. Nice steady inhale. Bank the river of your breath a little bit. A long exhale. Whatever stress you've been carrying, see if you can allow some things to release and calm. Shoulders are nice and soft. The base of the skull is relaxed. Your tongue is easy in your mouth. We're going to take our left hand behind us. Our right arm is going to lift up in the air, cross that hand to the outside of the knee. And if that's too far to reach, you can always hold the inside of the other knee as well. Relax the shoulders, so think less pushing and more breathing. All right, and then come back to center. Let's change sides. Arm comes up. We're going to bring the hand to the outside of the knee or to the inside of the other knee. Your choice. Lift your chest. Try not to push your low back forward. See if you can integrate the center body. Shoulders are down. Less pushing, more breathing. And then come back to center. And pause here again. Deep inhale. A long exhale. Go ahead and relax out of there, and we're going to come down onto our back. You need some blankets and blocks. We're going to roll before you lay down. Open up a blanket long ways like this, and we're going to roll this blanket. We're going to do some chest openers over the blanket, some restorative chest openers. All right, so the blanket's going to go in between your shoulder blades. Kind of, smack in the middle of your shoulder blades, maybe a little toward the higher edge. And if you need a block or another blanket under your head, take that. You can have your knees bent, feet on the floor. You can have your legs straight, up on the ground, whatever feels good. With your arms, you can do anything you want. You can have your arms overhead. You can grab onto your elbows and stretch them overhead or to your forehead. You can cactus your arms. You can have your arms come out like a T. You can have your arms cross over your chest. You can have your arms down at your sides. All right, so knees bent or knees straight. You just find the pathway that's right for this breath right now. Make sure your head is resting, either on the ground or on a block. Find ease. We're going to move the bolster down just a little bit, so it's kind of on the bottom tips of your shoulder blades. We're staying on shoulder blades. We don't want to put this in our low back. Okay, so bottom tips of your shoulder blades. And this may open up the diaphragm in a unique way. So once again, arms go wherever you want them to be. You can take a little time to find what feels right. Breathing well. Melt through your head again. Is your skull relaxed? Are you finding ease? Notice where you tend to kind of hold tension unnecessarily and see what you can do to let that go. All right. After a couple more breaths here, now if you're really, really happy, you can stay longer. But I want you to roll onto your right side. Now you might need some support underneath your head, and you might need to kind of find a happy place for the blankets to be. And if the roll feels uncomfortable, you can always open up your blanket again and accordion fold it so you have a flatter surface to lay on instead of a rolled surface. So your choice. But we're opening up the side ribs now. All right, so your arm can come up overhead. Your arm can be down at your side. Your hand can be on the floor. So find a pathway that works for you. Support your head if you need it. And let your body breathe. We're going to come down onto our back and scoot over to the other side. Adjust anything that needs adjusting. Find the pathway for your arm where you want it to be. You can kind of move the blanket up more toward your armpit or a little lower down, whichever feels nice. All right, and as you're ready, we're going to scoot back onto our back and put our pelvis on the blankets. Okay, so the rest of your body's on the floor. Stretch your legs straight so our heels are on the ground, legs straight. Decide where you want your arms. They can be up overhead. Now, if you are like, oh, I want more height underneath me, you can bend your knees, lift up your hips, and stick a block under there for a bridge pose. And you can either keep your feet on the floor or stretch your legs straight. If you're going to do the leg straight variation with a block underneath you, I recommend the low height of the block unless you know that your body is really capable of handling more height. Breathing well. All right, and then we're going to come out of there. Bring your knees to your chest. Stay on your prop, whether it's a block or a blanket, and bring your knees to your chest and let the little bit of traction happen. Full breaths in and away. All right, let's come off the props. Lie down on your back. Simple twist. Move your hips over to the right. Knees come up and drop them left. Take a deep breath. Turn your head. Now, when you get comfortable, melt again and again. Melt the head, melt the shoulders, soften the jaw. Give the brain a place to rest within inside the skull. All right, let's go ahead and lift the knees back up. Scoot your hips over to the other side. Go ahead and allow yourself to relax. Deep breaths here. Soften the skull. Melt what you can. Consciously melt. Find the places that I have a hard time melting and see if you can bring more there. All right, and then we're going to come rolling over onto our side and come on out of pose. Now, you have a couple of choices. So we have time for 2 restorative poses. So we're going to, I'll give you choices. You can do child's pose over a bolster. So, you know, when I do child's pose over a bolster, I like to oftentimes have my some sort of spot support, either a blanket or a block right above my breasts, and then another one for my hands, or another support for my head, maybe my hands. You can do whatever you want. You can support however you want for a supported child's pose. The next option is leg up the wall pose. So you can bring a blanket if you want, and you can come to a wall and go ahead and find your way, laying on the blanket or laying flat. Your legs can just come up a wall and you can rest here. Now remember, if you're doing leg up the wall pose, your feet can be up, your legs can be out, the soles of your feet can be together, your feet can be on the wall, you can sit cross-legged. There's all sorts of choices. The next choice is Supta Baddha Konasana. So those, why don't we stick to those 3 choices, and you get to do 2 out of 3, okay? So if you're going to do Supta Baddha Konasana, you can take as little or as much support as you want. I'm going to take a lot of support here when I demonstrate it. So one block higher than the other, and then a blanket or a bolster resting on top so that you have a ramp to sit back. I sit in front of my bolster. I have blankets for underneath my knees. I'm going to take the soles of my feet together, let my knees butterfly out, and come to rest. You can put an extra blanket under your head. You can put pillows under your arms. So choose 2 out of those 3. So you're probably already in one. All right, so we'll stay wherever you are for a few breaths, a little longer, a few minutes, okay? At least a couple of minutes. So give yourself the opportunity to allow ease here, to let your body rest. Is there a part of you that always has a hard time letting go? And if you know that about yourself, go there. Let this pose be a gift. transition to the next posture. Whichever that one is for you. And maybe you're just so in love with the posture and you're in and you don't want to move, and that's totally fine. There's no rules that you have to do 2 restorative poses. As you're shifting gears, make sure your breath is staying deep and slow, and your body can relax and rest. Let's find our way out or not. If you're very happy, we have just a few minutes left for Shavasana. If you want to stay where you are instead of Shavasana, by all means stay where you are instead of Shavasana. If you have props around you and you'd like to use them for Shavasana, like a bolster underneath your knees or any kind of support that you need, go ahead and take that. So as you get comfortable, whatever it is that you need, let's take advantage. Allow yourself to breathe. Melt again, one last time, the base of your skull.
back of your head. Let the brain rest inside. Slowly start to bring your awareness back around. Try melting one more time all the places that you tend to hold. And find your way onto your side. Very slowly. Sure. So lift yourself up. Bring your palms together to your heart. And once you're here, let's offer our awareness, our attention, our intention outward. Send your love and care to another. The restoration that you felt in your practice, give it outward. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you for being here, and I hope you all have a wonderful, relaxing day.